All right, guys, good morning and welcome, wicked smart listeners. Thanks for joining me this week. This is Chris Pre with another awesome guest. Whether you're driving or sitting focused listening, I encourage you to literally listen for those nuggets, those possible action items, remember, because you can listen to us till you're blue in the face, but without action, you're just sitting there sucking it up without taking action. You're going to be in the same spot in the next 12 months. Reminder, all of these episodes now, we've twisted this up a bit. I don't know if you guys all heard this, but all of these episodes are actually on YouTube. And you can subscribe at the channel because not only we get these, and it's a lot different when you can see the face of the people that I interview, and I on purpose will ask questions about their surroundings or other things. So it's just more entertaining than you listen to the audio. So I encourage you to do that. But also on YouTube, we have the Q&A Thursdays, we have the Motivational Mondays, and we have the Deal Structure Sundays. That kind of gets you like the skill sets, the motivation, the mindset, and the deal structure piece, which is so critical. We have, I don't know what it is, over 400. So go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube. Just type in Smart Real Estate Coach. You'll get to the channel, all right? Now, I'd be remiss not to make sure that I mention the QLS Live event coming up. It's going to be in Boston this year. If you're listening to this after September for some reason, no big deal. You catch the next events. But this one is going to be in Boston September 23rd and 24th. Go to smartrealestatecoach.com/QLS Live and use the code podcast50, so you get 50% off. All right, enough of me blabbing. Buckle in here while we bring you the next wicked smart masters class with Trevor Thompson. Now, Trevor's in Austin, Texas. He's invested in about 31 syndications, 20 of them as a limited partner, and 11 as a general partner. So he's got some cool experience in a very short window. So you're going to hear us talk about that. And then to twist it up, he's got a goal to help 1,000 people reach financial independence through investing. Different niche than us. So I wanted to bring this on and kind of keep you always thinking, because you can parlay your 3 paydays into other things. He's now an active sponsor himself, and he's super excited to be partnering with Massive Capital. He's a VP for them of investor engagement. So this is sort of where you guys come in, because in this position, he's going to be creating a community of investors where he's going to educate, inspire, create a place for you to hang out and feel part of an investor-friendly network. Now, we have that, obviously, with the Wicked Smart community. This is a different community, different niche. Nice to marry these sometimes, all right? All right, Trevor, so with that as a little background, welcome to the show.
I'm super excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
You bet, you bet. So I mean, the intro is one thing, but I'd like you to maybe take us behind the green curtain and explain kind of how you landed here, meaning present day, but a little history on how you got here, and then we'll dig deeper.
Yeah, so I have a very interesting background. In fact, I made a video of the world's most interesting man. You have to watch it and see. So I'm originally from Niagara Falls, Canada. Started out in the attractions industry, working for Ripley's, believe it or not, at age 13. Worked there all through high school, then worked with Guinness World Records, started a consulting company, and then moved to Florida to open up my own Guinness World Records. That deal didn't happen. Oddly enough, opened a year-round haunted house, and then got recruited by a company called iFly Indoor Skydiving, and spent 20 years with that company, which started with the original owner, grew it to 80 locations worldwide. I opened 46 of them. I was always interested in real estate, and quite interesting. At our first team meeting, they gave everybody a copy of Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Really?
I read it, inspired me, but I did what too many people do. I put it back on the shelf, and I didn't take action. And it always sat in the back of my head, I need to do real estate. And I was terrified of toilets, tenants, and trash. Then I went to the no time, no money, thinking you had to be rich to start investing in real estate. iFly got bought out. The no money excuse went away because I got a bit of a payday, and I started researching it. And I found about syndication. And I'll be honest, I went, where have you been my whole life? Like, this is what I'm looking for. And I understood the model because our business was, we bought back some franchises, did the same thing, right? Invested some capital, put some new systems in place, a bunch of things, grew the EBITDA, which in multifamily or other business, it's NOI, and then was able to sell it for a multiple. And I just went, where have you been my whole life? Why does nobody tell me about this? So like you, I'm on a mission now to make sure that people know about it.
So super interesting. On a lot of fronts, I scribbled some notes. You see me taking notes. So First of all, I got to ask, you said you didn't take action. This is like a biggie. So that really resonates with me. I say at the beginning of almost every show, listen for nuggets and take action or you're wasting time. Yeah. So how much do you think that cost you with some hindsight now? You know how to earn, you know how to create, what do you think?
Millions of dollars. I always like to use this excuse for people starting early. So first of all, real estate is very powerful because you can use leverage, right? A lot of people know that. But what a lot of people aren't talking about is the compounding of your money. So in theory, you should be able to double your money every 5 years. So if you think about this starting early, take 100, make it 2. Take 2, make it 4. Take 4, make it 8. Take 8, make it 1.6. Take 1.6 and make it 3.2 million in 25 years on one investment, assuming everything goes well, you double it, assuming you have no tax complications. Whose life would that change? Everybody's. So starting early, and 100's a big number, start with 25, start with 50, start where you can, and then keep reinvesting it. Super important for you to be able to grow it because the compounding effect, I mean, I would be, I might not be here today. I might be doing something else. Hopefully I would stay still inspired to share my message. But, just think if you could do something like that and you started at 25, 20s, and you did that a few times, you're talking now of tens of millions of dollars in net worth. Completely changes your life. I mean, you now have, because money only buys you options, right? For whatever you want to do in life, right? Money's not the only reason we all do everything, but it certainly gives you a lot of options. So I just don't understand why I didn't get that message. I consider myself a fairly bright guy. I knew about it. I was putting money in the stock market, doing the things that we all do, but it wasn't really growing.
It's very super cool. Yeah, what you just said about be on the sidelines and why don't people jump, or what you insinuated there. I mean, I racked my brain on that for the last, well, I would say 33 years, and because I've been in business that long, but just in the coaching business, I racked my brain on that because I know the opportunity is better. Yeah. Speaking of coaching, I have a question to go back to your story. That was there someone, one mentor, two mentors, a handful, a group that helped you when you made your transition, or did you seek that out?
Yeah, no, so definitely a mentorship group. So I joined a local real estate group. They were mostly single family, but they did have commercial real estate investments through their members. And again, I joined the group because I thought, okay, I'll see these guys every month at a meeting. So that helps me with the know, like, and trust, right? Yeah. I know they've been coached. They have some sort of code of conduct. And so that made me feel more comfortable to invest. And then clearly the learning and the education, and I've been involved probably now in 5 different mentorship programs. You can just go farther, faster. They say you can go faster by yourself. I don't believe that.
I don't.
When I first wanted to become an active person, finding my own deals, I spent 2 years trying to make something happen by myself or with various groups. And the second I got a team, my life exploded. It's just, I can't stress it enough. Have many mentors, and go a lot faster.
I agree 1,000,000%. There's something to hang out with and rub elbows with, not just like-minded, but people that'll prod you, push you, hold you accountable, etc. It's magical. Yeah. So what is your focus today, primarily asset-wise, size-wise? Like, what's your world look like today, Trevor?
Yeah, so we're mostly still buying value-add multifamily. We're quite size agnostic. So, for example, we have our biggest deal, over 400 doors under contract right now, but we've also bought as small as 18 doors. So it's very market-specific. So we're in landlord-friendly, pro-business growth states. So Texas, Colorado, North Carolina, and Georgia, right now where we are. Mostly buying value add because there's still money in it. It's a little harder to find a deal, but there is still a sweet spot to take an apartment complex. And one thing I want to make sure people understand is you are buying an apartment, but not really. You're buying a business that is backed by an apartment. And again, that epiphany was life-changing for me. We're buying a business that operates out of an apartment, and we're improving that business and then selling that business for a multiple based on our improvements. Super powerful way to look at it. And then we're also into new development of retail and lifestyle centers. So we're building one here in Austin where I live right now. We have a contract for one in Houston, one coming up just outside of Austin. And it's a market that we partnered with a group, and to be able to just offer a different asset class for people that, okay, I've got enough exposure in the multifamily space. I would like to have some different asset classes, which is, I highly recommend everybody have some diversity as you grow.
So tell me more about the retail lifestyle class, because keep in mind we have a batch of seasoned investors, and then we have a batch of, hey, I want to be an investor. So just kind of bridge that gap.
Yeah. So basically with the retail, what we do is we find areas that are growing. So here in Austin, it's an area that they put in about 60,000 homes. There is no what we're going to call local retail strip center in that market, and especially with the way the world has changed, those retail centers are super successful now because we're much more neighborhood focused. And so this one is smaller, 16,800 square feet, and it's going to have about 5 stores in it, have an anchor restaurant. We try to go for Texas chains, not national chains, try to get a little bit, but it's who would service a neighborhood. And then a lifestyle center is just a little bigger part of that it's often part of a bigger development, and there may be different levels of it. So we normally take the retail in the front, then you can have some bigger box like grocery stores or other things in the back. We even have one that goes a third level that has what I'm going to refer to as the industrial office. So an office out front and a garage in the back, they can enter the property. So as the property gets deeper, the uses can change in these lifestyle centers, and there's normally some sort of common area with a playground for kids, where people can just hang out, and you would have, on Memorial Day weekend, you would have something going on in the center that just supports the neighborhood again.
Yeah, pretty cool. And I like the diversity, clearly. So with massive capital, there seems to be, when I was doing some research, a little bit of I'll call it a mission, but a game plan over the next several years, be it build community or talk about the future a little bit.
Yeah. So right now we have about 200 million in assets under management with massive capital. Our retail partner is about 300 million. So we're just about $500 million. They've been doing it for much longer, 42 years. Massive capital's been around for 15 years. We've actually done 15 syndications in 2 years. We've done 15 syndications. So pretty rapid growth, very opportunistic, and often they're done with partners. So, for example, the Colorado are deals, we have a Colorado partner. North Carolina, we have a North Carolina partner. And they need us to come in, bring some balance sheet, bring some experience, raise some of the capital, but they understand the local market, which is super critical to have someone that understands the local market. And then we kind of play more on the big picture. My personal role is in education and also in raising capital, right? None of these deals happen without raising capital from investors.
So earlier we talked about people not taking action, Trevor. If you're talking to, let's say you're on a stage and talking to a group of syndicators or wannabe syndicators, or just real estate people in general, what would you think, in addition to not taking action, which is so basic, what have you seen, or what would you think and want to impart upon them as other mistakes that you've seen people make, and what could they do to fix those or solve them?
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest mistakes is a lot of groups teach you, let's get you over to completely active at some point, quicker than I think you should be. I got forced into it, COVID, I got laid off, and I wasn't quite ready, and it took me a while to ramp up. I didn't have the cash flow because I'd been investing not for cash flow. I'd been investing for growth wealth, which is, again, there are many different ways to invest. And if you invest for cash flow and you spend the cash, you lose out on the multiples that I talked about before. So it's super powerful to make sure you have a plan and that you're ready to execute that plan. And again, on the retail development, it's not a cash flow play, right? It's you build it, we lease it up, and we sell it. You don't really make any money till we sell it. So it's a wealth creation plan versus something that, and again, I understand some people need to live off of their investments, but my hope for people is they don't get rid of their income until they don't have to have it. That would be the one thing that I would say is super powerful. And then I always try to mention this, I didn't come up with it, the great Warren Buffett did, but until you find a way to make money in your sleep, you will work until you die. And I was a victim of that, right? I worked and I worked and I worked and I went around the Monopoly board and I did okay. I had a nice house, I had 2 cars, no problem paying the bills, but I didn't focus on having my money work for me. And huge difference, right? Huge difference. And then once you start making multiple investments, you need some strategy of diversification, timelines, risk reward. I'm invested. I've been in 31 syndications now in 5.5 years. So I've been pretty active. 8 have gone full cycle. I've always tried to keep my money working, but I'm also try to do what I'm going to call some singles and doubles, like a baseball analogy. I've got one, it just pays a 10 pref on a medical center with the triple net lease, double guaranteed. It's no risk. Every quarter I get that money. It's okay. And then there are other ones where you try to hit the home runs, which is often on the value add multifamily, or, we've done some land entitlement. If you get it entitled, it's worth a lot more. But it's just don't try to get enough gunpowder built up to where you aren't forced into any options, is what I like to tell people.
I love it. So on that note, what is everybody sort of has an end game or a goal outcome, but what's your end game then on that? Like, do you have, okay, I'm going to keep stacking alcohol until this point, and then what is the next level for you?
Yeah, so I have a very strange end game, and so my goal is to build up some assets. I want to be able to 1031 into just being a landlord. So I want to own dirt that Starbucks, Walgreens, CVS sits on. It is a lower paying portion. And then we'll put that into it. And then this sounds crazy. So again, let's say I can amass $5 million worth of net worth. And instead of paying, $1.5 million taxes on that, I can roll it in. And then you leave it sit there. And I'm 65 now, so not too far from the end, maybe. And then when you pass away, it actually gets inherited by your heirs at a stepped up value. So if that 5 million in 10 years becomes 10 million, they don't have a tax consequence until after that. And then it's also, nobody has to work on it. CVS, Walgreens is just sending a check. And that check goes into a trust. So that's kind of my long-term game plan, is to set it up to where right now I'm working super hard and there's a lot of activity, but that kind of investment, there is no real activity. Once you find it, they're signing 20-year land leases, 30-year land leases. My children will be fine.
Yeah, I think for the most part, they're not going anywhere. I agree.
Yeah.
Trevor, so I don't forget, how can these people reach out to? You can share anything you want, website, links, whatever you want.
Yeah, the best way is to reach out to me on LinkedIn. You just have to remember the K. My legal name is Keith, so K Trevor Thompson. Reach out to me on LinkedIn. Say you saw me on a podcast. I always accept invites, and that is the easiest way to reach out to me.
Awesome. And then I do a lot of shows like you, and I get off. Most often I get off and go, I forgot to say this, or why didn't the host ask me this? So is there anything that you want to share, a nugget or two, something I didn't ask, or something that's top of mind that you can impart upon the Wicked Smart?
Yes, I think the biggest thing is, and again, I suffered with it. I had some knowledge, but I had more fear. And I just let that fear, and I suffered from this analysis paralysis, like, I've got to know everything. I've been doing it for 5.5 years. I don't know everything. I finally figured out I don't know anything. You have to understand enough so that you're responsibly investing. And I think the next thing is who you give your money to is more important than where you give your money. So find people that you know, like, and trust. Develop a relationship with them. Find somebody who just like offers education, offers ways for you to learn and be able to ask questions. And then you just got to do it. First time I sent the check, man, I didn't sleep. I put $100,000 in the deal, and I was like, I knew I was doing the right thing. But it's so strange because it was no problem to match my 401k at work. It was like there was no fear there, and I don't understand why we transitioned the fear. Because it's just you're giving it to someone who is responsible. You're not running the apartment complex or building the retail center. You're trusting someone can do that for you.
You mentioned fear. This came to mind. This wasn't my brain originally, but I recently read Tony Robbins' third book in his trio of his money books. And he talked about the fear, and he also talked about how real estate's one of the only, we'll call industry, where when things go on sale that people don't want to buy, right? They get scared. So the media's screaming right now, and I've been talking about this for years. But what are your thoughts on the current market then, Trevor? I'm more than curious about that.
So I am positive we are in one of the biggest buying opportunities of my lifetime. If you look back to 2008 and 9, that was in the residential. Commercial wasn't really affected. We're in a small spot where there are good properties with a bad plan. And they're going to have to exit that plan because there is no other way to exit that plan. So there will be some disruption in the space. There will be some short-term, blood in the streets. They always say buy real estate when there's blood in the streets, even if it's your own blood. I think in the next 18 months is what is going to, anybody who is buying we're going to look back and go, man, those guys were super smart doing it, right? I think it's a great time.
You're singing my music. I'm gonna remind everybody tonight that you said that because I've been screaming about this for like the last 18 or 24 months. Decades of income could be built in the next 18 to 24 months. Great.
I agree.
Parents.
And again, it's always a good time to buy real estate. There are just some times that are better.
Yeah.
This is it.
I love it. I want to wrap on that, and I'm going to use that tonight on my private call. It's super cool to talk to you, Trevor. Gave us a very cool high level perspective, and I appreciate you taking some time with us today.
My pleasure. I really enjoyed being here. Thanks for having me.
You bet. Okay, wicked smart listeners, that wraps up our time today with Trevor. If you enjoyed the show on any level, could you just take a few seconds, literally, and go ahead and give us a rating and a review, and then share it with others. Just take a few seconds now, share it with someone, at least one person. When you do, email me and let me know your biggest takeaway personally today. And also, as a thank you, I want to do a call with you, a free call. I love these. I've been doing these for like 3 months, and the conversations and the strategy and the progress I've had with people has just been amazing. So I welcome these calls. They're free. They're with me personally. And I want to just get a gauge for where you are now and where you want to be. And maybe I can help you, maybe I can't. If I can't, I'll be a conduit to you like I am with my I-6 associates and put you in someone else's lap. If there's a contact outside of our community that's going to better serve you, I'm going to tell you that. Go to smartrealestatecoach.com/Chris Free Call. So it's CHRISPRE call. Guys, super appreciate you as always. Thanks for taking 20 or 30 minutes again with us. We will see you next week on the next Wicked Smart Masters class. Make it a great week.
Thanks for listening to the Smart Real Estate Coach podcast. If you're ready to invest in yourself and take your investing to the next level, check out our 90-day Jumpstart program by going to smartrealestatecoach.com/jump. That's smartrealestatecoach.com/jump, because now is the time to act boldly in this unprecedented market shift.